I want to talk about YouTube titles, which is often a call that we have, but I think makes sense for this.
Ooh.
So for both of you guys, and I mentioned this, I find myself on YouTube rewatching movies and videos that I've seen before that are sliced into different size pieces. And I think even as a viewer, like I know that I'm going to watch that same James Bond scene that I've probably seen 25 times. When they isolate the one moment when he knocks a guy out and it has a funny title like "This is what you get for pissing off James Bond" and it's 13 seconds, I still leave satisfied every time. And I've seen them do this with MMA as well. So they'll be like, the most ridiculous roundhouse kick, and it's a 9-second clip of a power kick in some random fight that I've never seen, and I do it. So I think that for everyone who was out there making content, figuring out ways to chop it up for different sized audiences is going to become super, super important, including this podcast and including the main channel.
But there's a difference between like, okay, we got the highlight of 8 seconds or 13 seconds. Like, how can you monetize that on the back end? That's the issue.
So what I saw is that I started getting fed Dungeons and Dragons content from a group of people that I've never seen. And then their full Dungeons and Dragons videos that were 2.5 hours long are now populating my homepage. And I clicked one and I watched a little bit of it. And they still have to grab me with that. But I think what it does is it feeds longer content that isn't immediately monetizable. Because when you're looking at a podcast like this 2.5 hours long, has a really confusing title and some guy that you've never seen before, you're probably not going to click it.
Right.
But if you get 30 seconds or 3 minutes of a clip on a topic that you've already watched, and then you see us again, there's a chance that you loop back into that longer content loop. So what we have to do, which these guys, the Dungeons and Dragons people didn't do well, but we know how to do, is you link to the main channel in the description. You make sure that your tags are all set up so that you're creating that connection between the short channel and the main content channel.
And it should probably pop up in the suggested, right?
Yep.
Right underneath too.
Well, it's not yet for these guys because they have 2 separate channels. They have the shorts channel and their main channel, and there's no link that they built between the original episode and that. So I would go looking for what episode is this in? Because this looks like a really cool scene. And I couldn't find it in the description. So that's something that we definitely need to do better. And if you're out there making content, I think it's just something to keep an eye on. You're going to start seeing TikTok style content everywhere, but it's not going to replace long content. It's actually just going to operate as a feeder into it.
It's going to supplement it. And we can do it easily too, because it's like, all right, make a 1-minute video of Joe Rogan getting annoyed about Neil deGrasse Tyson, and then we link to that video that we made the entire breakdown of Joe Rogan, right?
Exactly. And the thing that we also talked about, but I see, is that there's different title formats. Like, for the shorter the content, the more the title becomes the content. So for our videos, it's like how to command respect, and then it's 10 minutes. But for these ones, it's like the setup to a joke or the setup to a moment is the title of it. So it's like, this is what happens when Ryan, what's that guy's name in the UFC who's just a leg lock wizard? Is it Ryan Hall?
No idea.
I think it's like, this is what happened when Ryan Hall grabs your leg. And then
it's
8 seconds long of him just immediately tapping BJ Penn.
Yeah.
And it's literally half of the video is in the title.
Right.
And so you would never name a UFC fight YouTube video, "This is what happens when Ryan Hall grabs your leg," because that's not it. It's Ryan Hall versus BJ Penn, UFC, whatever. And so that's what we have to figure out is, what is our format for 5-minute clips? What is our format for 50-second clips? What is the format for longer podcasts?
What type of content do you think that wouldn't work for? Like, I was thinking comedy. You can't really just have
amazing.
You just can't have the punchline, 30 seconds punchline. Don't you need the build up and the trance beforehand?
So I would think the same thing, except Smosh. I sent you those videos of, it's literally, they have this thing where it's one guy sits in a stool with water in his mouth. Did I send this to you? Okay, the guy sits in a stool with water in his mouth.
Pull it up, Justin.
The game is, I've been waiting to say that. The game is you have to get the guy in the stool to spit out his water, to do a spit take. And so people come from behind a curtain and they tell jokes. The title of the video is "Say What You Will About Pedophiles, ... And then you're like, oh my God, what is this? So you click the video, it's 30 seconds long. And it's this girl who comes out and she goes, "Say what you will about pedophiles." He starts to she goes, "At least they slow down in school zones." And then that's the video. And he spits out his water.
That's it?
That's the video. It's one joke, man. And I watched it probably 4 times. I was like, that was a well-delivered joke.
Right.
And so, yeah, instead of going from comedy special, which is called whatever, Jerry Seinfeld or Andrew Schultz, you're going to content which is a singular joke, which can oftentimes fit within a minute. And then you've also got what we've seen before, which is the Netflix style, like Dave Chappelle on BLM, which is like his segment that from his comedy special on whatever, BLM. I don't think he talked about BLM in the last one, but shotguns or whatever. And all of those will attract a different audience, will get shown on different areas of YouTube, one's in the shorts area, and I think all can be connected to get people eventually to do what you want, which is to become fans that are willing to dedicate an hour and a half. But you have to, I think, increasingly earn 30 seconds, then 5 minutes. And
do you think it's like a funnel
segment
of attention, starting with like 15, 30, and then an hour podcast, for example?
I think it's becoming that, because that's how I've seen myself. And now I am aware of this. I think it's called Dimension 20, this new Dungeons and Dragons group that I'd never heard or seen before and would have no way of coming across except for their short clips, which somehow made it to my attention.
That's you. Like, you've also had long form podcasts. You're also an older gentleman. Like, what do you think about the newer, like, I don't know, what do they call them? Like Gen Z, even younger than Gen Z?
I think that's you.
I'm around the cusp of Gen Z and millennial. Yeah, 25.
And so what do I think about what?
Like that younger age. Do you think they're watching podcasts, or is it just straight TikTok? And because it seems like all the massive companies right now are investing more into shorter and shorter content.
Yes, but they also follow the same structure of they always have this, like every single platform starts with Instagram was 15-second videos, and then it became a minute. TikTok's it's minute-long videos. They're talking about making it 3 minutes.
Yeah.
They start with whatever they have to do to capture attention, and then they also realize, like, it's not a lot you can do with someone's attention in 56 seconds, so then they need to expand it. So I do think that the way that people are the way that media is developing is you have to be able to capture attention in that short period of time, and then, develop some sort of a funnel to get someone to be interested enough in you to come to your concert or to come to your live show or to invest in whatever product you sell.
Yeah. Makes sense.
But yeah, so we can talk the specifics, and we don't need to get into this on the podcast, but I wanted to flag that for both you guys, because I think that particularly this podcast with different titles and thumbnails could do a lot more views if we cared. Not that we have to, but that was just one thing.
Cool.
And I have some recommendations of channels for you guys to watch out. Hope that you guys enjoyed that clip. If you want to see more like this and have us do more podcasts, we are 100% funded by our generous patrons. And if you'd like to contribute, there's a link in the description, and we'll have one pop up on the screen right here so that we can do more podcasts where we have fun conversations and hopefully some deep ones like this. Either way, hope that you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.